Hi there, and welcome to this week's episode of Ignite News at Mohawk College. I'm Carlin McGill.
And I'm Greg Rosser. Every year, all the faculty from the music programs here at Mohawk College get together for a jam session.
Although it was a little different this year.
Mohawk's faculty jam sesh contained a little more rhythm than it has in previous years. More than just guitars, pianos, and other generic instruments were present at this event. Instruments like the saxophone and upright bass came into play.
So this is a faculty recital that we have. It's made up of around 8 of our faculty that teach here at Mohawk, and they're all performers, world-class performers, performing. And it's a nice way to introduce our students to who's teaching them.
I freelance, so I play with lots of different people, mostly jazz music, and mostly in the Toronto area, but I've traveled all over the world playing lots of different people.
This year, for the first time, Mohawk's music students were invited to jam with their fellow teachers on stage, which gave the event a fresh feel.
They do the faculty concert every year. This is the first time they've opened it up to a jam though, so it's kind of exciting.
While most of Mohawk's music's faculty play a variety of different instruments and styles, this year's event was focused more on the jazz side. Here at Mohawk, music students have the opportunity to jam with their peers and profs on the McIntyre Theatre stage. Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Rebecca Anderson.
We're outside of our newsroom here on campus, and you know, Carlin, technology has really changed the face of journalism, and it's given people all over the world an opportunity to become a journalist themselves.
That's right, Greg. Megan Adams and Elisa Piccarello have the report.
Independence is a value that is common across all journalists who have integrity. Independence in journalistic circles means that you're not influenced by the people you cover or any possible reward or penalty for publishing the story that you're working on. So independence is a value that should be there regardless of the company you work for or whether you work for yourself or someone else. The Maggies was founded as a way to honor Maggie Hughes, who was an independent journalist in Hamilton and who worked on her own time on behalf of a lot of people who weren't so fortunate and who didn't have a voice. And we wanted to honor both Maggie's memory and encourage and support those people who are working as independent journalists.
Live and her legacy live and honor her in a way that was reflective upon who she was.
And that's one of the main reasons I'm involved. I'm just hoping that some of the young people who are interested in this type of journalism, independent media, will follow in her footsteps with the same kind of passion, you know.
She knew everything about everything that she needed to know.
Is someone who doesn't have the backing of a company, someone who's basically working on their own and covering stories frequently for little or no pay, and perhaps even using their own money to cover stuff. Well, I think there's room for both. We think of independent journalists in this sense, in addition to, but not instead of. So places like the Hamilton Spectator, or the Toronto Star, CHCH, CHML, these are very important voices in the city, very important that journalists can work there and have the backing of a company and get a regular paycheck and get that support. In addition to that, it's great, the more voices that we have in journalism, the better coverage we have and the more informed we are as a public. Competition is always a good thing. Competition gets journalists to focus on the stories in terms of not so much getting first, because I think sometimes that can detract from the value of a story, but getting the facts right and getting the depth of the story and telling stories perhaps that other journalists aren't telling. The Maggies, Maggie Hughes' niece, Sherry Curry, is involved. She's a founding member. Kevin McKay, who is a sociology professor here at Mohawk College. Myself, I teach journalism here, and Amanda Stewart, who runs Activism Hamilton.
Especially in this day and age of journalism, I think we need more independent voices. The diversity of voice is lost somewhat as the Bell Medias and the Rogers and the big conglomerates that are buying up media companies start to emerge. And I think there is a role. There are still journalists that have passion, that want to tell stories that maybe the big conglomerates don't want to tell. And I think they can branch out and do that kind of thing. I think they're driven by their own morals, they're driven by their own passions, and they're not necessarily at the whims of an editor or a news director who wants certain types of stories told. Some people don't like the direction news is going, not enough hard news, not enough context, not enough detail. Working independently allows you the freedom to tell the story the way you want to. I think as long as the quality of the journalism is there, they've done their due diligence, they've done their investigation, they've done their verification, all the key aspects of journalism. It's not just a fly-by-night, I'm going to take some video that's very compelling and throw it up on the web and maybe put a voice over under it. I think as long as the journalism they're going to be okay. The problem is the marketing, right? How do they get this journalism found? And although independent is good, we can crowdsource. At the end of the day is how do I get people to watch this? How do I have a brand that's trustworthy and then people find what I'm doing? And that becomes easier as well with social media to be able to reach out and have that story seen. And we all know there's so much information out there, so many stories being told, a lot of it crap, some of it good. But I think if the quality of the journalism is there and it's a topic that is of the public interest, then people will find it and they'll gain a following.
It's a beautiful day here at Mohawk College. Greg, we've got some Mohawk art students who are outside sketching.
That's right, and Kareem Mosna had a chance to take a look at an art school in Dundas with over 50 years of history.
Walking toward the building, one is greeted with 50 candles prominently displayed on the gate, each uniquely designed. 50 years ago, the Dundas Valley School of Art was born. The school had humble beginnings, but now offers a variety of art classes.
The school was started by two women in 1964, I believe, and they started at, a very small scale, offering 1 or 2 classes in a small building, and the school has grown and grown from that to meeting not just adults but children's programming, including pottery and printmaking and photography. So it grew from that kind of small community-based school to really a school that influences the greater region, because we have students coming from Woodstock, from Cambridge, from Brantford, from Burlington, from Oakville on a regular basis now. And so the outreach of the school is much broader.
Dundas Valley School of Art is one of the very few independent art schools in Canada.
We're a community-based school. We offer, our youngest student is 2, and our oldest student, who tells me often she's 96. So we have everyone in between. So that's pretty unique. Most schools will focus on kids or focus on adults. We do it all.
As less and less emphasis is put on art education in school, Greenblatt says schools like Dundas Valley will help fill that void.
As the schools have cut back, it's not a big deal, but as the schools went from 13 years to 12 years and the credits have shifted and everything has shifted, what you take as a student, you have less and less things you can take. And so what's considered extras, unfortunately, music, art, theater, writing, all of that becomes extra. So the only way to really get it is to go out and purchase it, because it's not going to be available to you everywhere you want.
The school can assist students with building their portfolio in ways that high schools cannot.
Most post-secondary arts programs require portfolio entrance. And one of the things, for instance, in the portfolio they want to see is life drawing. And in general, you can't do life drawing in a high school. They frown upon nudity.
This year, the school hopes to introduce contemporary media into the classroom.
We're going to offer this year one of our cartooning classes will be a tablet tunes, and it's going to be done using iPads or whatever. But we've gone far enough along that it's up to the student to bring their own tablet.
To celebrate their 50th anniversary, the DVSA is hosting a free open house, which includes hands-on activities and demonstrations from faculty. It happens on Sunday, October 5th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. For Ignite News, I'm Kareem Mosna.
We're here at the Arnie today, which hosts tons of live music and bands all the time.
You know, Greg, one of the many things Hamilton's known for is its music scene.
That's right, and it's not just bands like the Arkells and Monster Truck, but Steven Soba has a profile on a small duo from the region.
guess we started making music together when we lived together. So it was about 4 years ago. And then it started off pretty casual. I brought my synth and started making like just sounds. And then Kat is like vocally trained, so she just started singing. So it was like a pretty organic, unplanned start. And then after just jamming around for a while, we began to like write songs. We went through some various names, and then we debuted in like 2012 as Virence.
Wasn't it? We actually had our first gig at our place. So
yeah,
we, oh no, it was first in Hamilton, and then we decided to throw a show at our place, and then, yeah, it kind of went through all right. I mean, the cops came eventually because of noise complaints, of course, but there was a lot of people there, and it was good energy, and just kind of cleared everything out.
I've been making music probably since I was 13, so it's something I've always done. I guess various different kinds of music, but I guess I got into electronic music when I was like 16. I played in a couple bands in Hamilton.
I've always been a singer. I guess I used to take vocal lessons. My mom kind of pushed me to do that because of her mom, which is my Oma. She sang for the war, and my mom was like, oh, like, you should go do singing lessons. So I did, and then just kept doing it. Not as much classically, but more so just randomly. And then after that organic kind of thing happened when we lived together, just kept going with it, and that's where I put my voice now.
We met at art school, so I guess that's our other passion. But I've always done music, and I think I enjoy making music, or I favor music over art a little bit. But yeah, I guess I'm a practicing artist, and the two worlds definitely overlap a lot. So we do all our album art, our videos, and stuff like that.
Which is funny, bridging the boundary between making art and doing music is, where do you put your time necessarily? Do you put your time into balancing shows and then also getting shows for your art practice, or how far do you want to take each dedicated interest? So it's been very interesting for me, especially. I think you have put your place over like music over art, but I'm still kind of trying to balance everything and get in everywhere.
I think for music, it's all over the map. Our record label in Toronto, Death Records, it's kind of like it's not so much a label as it is like a collective. So there's a couple musicians, and we all overlap. We make music together, we work on videos together, so it's a collective, and we get a lot of inspiration from our friends and stuff, but there's a lot of great acts out right now. I think like for dark electronic music, a lot of bands we played with, like Lebanon, Hanover, Cellophane, stuff like that, is really motivating to us.
Even Montreal has been very supportive. The people there, and also the talent that's there, is really, I think just anyone that you can kind of work with and get along with is just so good for fueling this energy that you can kind of just work with, and just things kind of go off from there. So the thing with Toronto especially is that it's very difficult to even like kind of get in with everyone being in a band or everyone being a DJ. So it's good to have a collective with like this like forming, energetic, group of people that can kind of keep that going.
Musically, I hope to just keep making music. It's never really been a goal for me to be famous or to get a certain distance of fame, other than to be able to support myself off of music. So in 5 years, if I'm still making music, that'll be successful.
Yeah, always think about this, but it always just seems so far away. I preferably would just want to travel. I mean, I would love to be able to support myself off of every work that I've been doing musically or within the arts. So just making and doing and exploring and kind of not really making a huge plan for myself.
You know, Greg, the student population here at Mohawk is so diverse. People come from all over the world to study right here.
That's right, Carla. And Steven Sobot had a chance to check out and share in some of that culture.
Clap and end on your second foot.
Smile, feel the beat, celebrate. These are some words of inspiration used when dancing Bhangra, a style of dance Amanja Desi and Social Inc. are trying to bring to Mohawk. Bhangra dance originated from the Punjabi region between Pakistan and India. Farmers would celebrate by dancing Bhangra when they had a good crop yield. Desi would like others to know the story behind it as well.
To promote the culture itself, right? I mean, so we can kind of like get it out there and then just for people to have fun too, right? At the same time, because it's a dance, so you enjoy yourself while you're doing it.
Desi has been dancing Bhangra for 6 years. He wants to create a lasting legacy at Mohawk.
I just want to make sure it's something that's established for sure where I can pass it on to other students, right? And then let somebody take over and just be a part of the whole experience, right? Like at the school where you get to do something aside of just the actual homework.
Desi and his friend Taran Singh held auditions to see what Mohawk has to offer. Singh is relatively new to Bhangra and wanted others to see what Bhangra is all about.
We want everyone to come out and try out and see if they like it and see how it goes.
Once they form the group, they hope to perform at other cultural dance events around Hamilton like Pangea. They also plan to dance during Mohawk's varsity sports halftime shows. Although it may seem intimidating, just about anyone can dance it.
Reporting for Ignite News, I'm Steven Sobot.
One of the most storied and influential RPGs ever created has just received a rehash. Steven Sobot has more.
Thank Avo you're here! I thought we were going to die in this hellish place! We have to get to the Barrow Fields at the other end of Darkwood. You lead the way, we'll be right behind you. The sooner we put this forest behind us, the better. There are unnatural things out there.
Making up new intellectual property can be hard work. Thinking up new plots, new settings, new conflicts, and new characters can be tiresome. Don't you wish you could just do the same thing you did 10 years ago and still make money off it? On that note, here's Fable Anniversary Edition, an HD remake of one of the most popular role-playing games on the original Xbox and PC, now available on Steam. Remaking older, once popular games has become a trend for game developers in recent years, but there are two ways they can do this. They could take their intellectual property and expand on it, creating something that references the previous game while still being its own thing. Games like Pokemon Heart Gold or Soul Silver, Silent Hill Shattered Memories, and GoldenEye 007 Reloaded are very similar to their predecessors, but add enough to make it unique in its own way. On the other hand, there are cases where the game developers take the original game, polish it up, and then repackage it. Age of Empires 2 HD, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, and Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD are basically the same game they made years ago, bar a few menu and graphical upgrades. Fable Anniversary Edition fits in the latter category. The story is identical, the music and vocals are identical, and the gameplay is identical. The only changes that were made was a decent graphics upgrade and an improved menu system. For those who haven't played Fable before, Fable is an open-world RPG where you start as a starry-eyed kid whose family and village gets burned to the ground. You are saved by a mage who's the headmaster of a guild for training heroes, cleverly called the Heroes Guild. There you train to become a hero or a villain, depending on what choices you make. Before the original game was released, developers were quite vocal about the game heavily featuring a moral spectrum. Whenever you help people, you gain good points. Whenever you hurt or kill innocent people, you gain bad points. In reality, the spectrum boils down to either act like a normal person or act like a psychopath. For example, for a quest, there are a group of people being terrorized by a hive of wasps. You can either help them by killing the wasps, the good choice, or kill the wasps and then kill the people, the bad choice. They did fix some of these issues in the following Fables, but that brings up another question. Why did this game get redone? A year after its original release, developers released Fable of the Lost Chapters. It's essentially the same game, but they added a few new areas to explore, some new spells and equipment, and some new enemies. A remake already exists. The Anniversary Edition doesn't add anything other than a graphical upgrade, and even then, the game was stylized to look animated rather than realistic. If you look at both the games side by side, you'll see that, yeah, it does look better, But is it necessary? Maybe not. So if you're looking for a good RPG, Fable is one of the best on the market. But unless you're already a big fan of the game, you're better off saving your money on one of the originals, or better yet, one of the sequels. If you are already a fan of Fable, you'll find this game to be a decent, if forced, upgrade. Fable Anniversary Edition is available on Steam and Xbox 360 for $35.
Hey Greg, did you know that once a week Mohawk actually hosts a movie night outside?
I did. I was here just last week for X-Men Days of Future Past on the big screen.
And if you aren't able to make the movie nights, Kyle Williamson has a review for you.
Let me tell you this. If you want to hear your voice floating in the middle of a beautiful tapestry of frequencies, you're going to need a pop group.
God Help the Girl is a British musical that tells of how three young, lonely souls become friends through their shared love of music. We're first introduced to the main character Eve, played by Emily Browning, when she escapes from a psychiatric hospital. Eve suffers from an eating disorder and other possible mental health issues, which require medical and psychiatric supervision. Ollie Alexander's character James is a geeky, too feminine guitar-playing songwriter whose ambition is to produce a pop record that will last throughout the ages. For Eve, music is an escape from everything going on in her head, so when she meets James, they quickly become best friends.
I've been teaching this girl to play guitar. You should come with me sometime.
Along with James's quirky guitar student Cassie, played by Game of Thrones actress Hannah Murray, they form a band called God Help the Girl to help reach their dream of writing great pop music. The film has a dark undertone despite being filled with quirky, upbeat music numbers, dancing, and grand summer adventures. This, in short, is because of Eve. Eve's repeated struggle with mental health and poor life choices leaves you to wonder if the leading lady is more of an anti-hero. Browning does a believable job of portraying someone suffering from mental illness. You can see the terror between what she is doing and what's going on in her head. Much of this is expressed through her songs. This beauty has all the boys' attention, but wants to be famous for her music. Yet, she consistently uses her looks and charm to get things from men. James is the underappreciated best friend in this one-sided love. It's not a unique role. While you feel for the guy who puts Eve ahead of himself, you can't help but feel like you've seen this character before. Still, he's relatable. Many can identify with the hardships of caring for someone battling mental health issues, and Ollie Alexander does a respectable job of depicting unconditional love.
I'm going to be in Eve's band, and you can either be in it or go back to posting up sad notices in sad cafes.
Cassie is a disappointing character. Largely there for a comedic relief, her storyline seems underdeveloped. Cassie seems like an underwritten version of Hannah Murray's character of the same name in the British TV drama Skins. She's peculiar and a dreamer, but there really isn't a whole lot there. Overall, the film is enjoyable. The songs are fun, but forgettable, and the characters need a little bit more development. But the film uses a unique approach to discuss an important issue. I give God Help the Girl a rating of 3 out of 5 stars. For Ignite Entertainment, I'm Kyle Williamson.
Both men's and women's varsity basketball teams came off 2 powerhouse seasons this year, Carlin.
Yeah, Sean Marenka actually had a chance to catch up with the coaches and some of the players from both teams.
Last year, the Mohawk men's basketball team had their playoff run ended in a disappointing fashion, losing in the semifinals to the Sheridan Bruins. It was the second year in a row that the Bruins eliminated Mohawk from the provincial championships, losing to them in the finals the year before. Mohawk went into the playoffs as the top team in the West Conference, even taking home a win against Sheridan in the regular season. But the men couldn't do it twice in one season, losing by 6 to the Bruins in the tournament.
We never finished where we wanted to last year, but we're hoping for better things this year. Hopefully with the guys we picked up and our teamwork, we'll end up with an Ontario gold medal and a national gold medal because we're hosting it here this year.
The team has made some definite improvements through recruiting and also retained a solid core of returning players. Guard Matt Fennell was the West Division scoring champion, averaging just over 25 points a game, and gained All-Canadian honors. Center Taylor Dowhanick was the West Division Defensive Player of the Year while leading the league in block shots, and forward Andrew Sicatini, an OCAA first-team All-Star, led the league in rebounds. Coach Brian Yonker believes that they have the right combination of a returning core of veterans and a batch of new recruits that can take them deep into the playoffs.
For starters, we've returned out of our top 8, we've returned everybody but Alex Reese. So having that many returning guys again and as much depth and experience is great. But we've also added some more significant pieces that are all experienced guys as well for the most part.
The new recruits are a solid group of Hamilton natives, including Kojo Afari, who transferred in from the Sioux College, and Matt Savell, who just finished up playing 4 years at the University of Toronto. Forward O.J. Watson, a McNabb High School product, returns from Southeastern Community College in Iowa to join the Mountaineers also. The team added some veteran OCAA talent in Yosef Malakandov, who played at Fanshawe before joining the Mountaineers. Yosef believes that the team has been getting ready to make a long run this year and has high expectations.
Well, the teams that we're going to be playing and competing against are going to be the same as I've played against before, but with this new program and system that we have here, with the new recruits, we're definitely going to have a better system than anyone else in the OCAAs. A lot of commitment, a lot of heart, definitely championship worthy. The main thing that we want to do this year is win nationals, so that's going to be our goals.
The team has bolstered their roster this offseason and are looking to get back to the success of 3 years ago when they took home a national championship. Only time will tell how this squad will perform, but the team definitely has the drive and talent to achieve their goals. On the women's side, the Lady Mountaineers are wasting no time preparing for the upcoming season. After falling short in the OCAA championship to the Algonquin Thunder, these ladies are determined to prove themselves this year. Coach Duffy explains that last year, other teams were caught off guard by how strong a team Mohawk had.
I think last year we kind of snuck up on a few teams. They weren't expecting the pressure or the full court offense that we tried to run all game. So I know teams going to be a little bit more prepared, and we're going to have to be a little bit mentally tougher to make adjustments during the game. But overall, so far, we're off to a great start, and I'm really looking forward to the season.
The girls are taking steps to prepare themselves not only physically, but also mentally. Fifth-year guard Rachel Abella says she is confident the team will do well this season. Her confidence reflects how well the girls, old and new, are working together. Their determination is what Abella believes will bring them to the OCAAs once again.
All the rookies just come in and just step up and just work as hard as a veteran, so I really like that. And I like how we run the floor, and then we are always there for each other, and we just got to stay hungry. We're not satisfied as coming in second, because if you're not first, you're last, basically.
Rookie Shannon O'Neil is excited to be playing for the Mountaineers this season. O'Neil is a Hamilton native. Not only did she attend St. Mary's and Highland Secondary School, but she also played for the Hamilton Transway rep basketball team.
I love it. I love the coaching staff. I love the girls on the team. It was good getting to know all the girls on the team and everything. They're a great group of girls, and just the practice and everything are I enjoy them. They're everything I like to do and everything. So I think we're going to be hard to beat because we're all aggressive and hardworking.
The Mountaineers' home opener will take place in the Deep Arc on November 7th at 6 p.m. against Redeemer. For Ignite News, I'm Sean Maranka.
That's all for this week's edition of Ignite News. I'm Greg Rosser.
And I'm Carla McGill. Thanks for watching.